You've dropped your pipe.
I didn't drop it. I spit it out on the floor. Oh, my God.
How much whiskey have you had today?
I've had like 3 drinks. Welcome to a BS podcast. It's Bobby and Mark. And Mark is already aggravated with me or laughing at me.
I'm not aggravated.
Not sure which.
I'm definitely not aggravated.
I assure you I am sober, but it's been a long day.
He's claiming that the caffeine's doing this to him. So far, he's spit his pipe out. He's tried to smoke, and I'm not lying. He's tried to smoke the microphone. And we're doing some experiment to prove Ace wrong. I don't know what it is.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And you're almost out of whiskey.
I have a glass with an old fashioned in it, and I've had like 3 or 4 drinks out of said glass.
Hey, I watched your video, your freezer door old fashioned.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty interesting. I always thought it was like you had to have the muddler and all that.
Okay, and if you do a traditional old fashioned, you would, and when I say traditional, I mean if you do it the old way, you would have put the orange slice, a cherry in there, like a cocktail cherry, a sugar cube, because you wouldn't use simple syrup, and then you'd have put your bitters onto the sugar cube, and you'd taken your muddler, and you'd have crushed the sugar cube, the bitters, onto the cherry and the orange slice, and then you would have mixed the bourbon, the rye, whatever your, because an old fashioned isn't necessarily made with bourbon or whiskey. The reason it's called an old fashioned is people wanted a cocktail made the old way.
Oh.
And so that's what they're doing. You used bitters because back then hard liquor was so rot gut and nasty. They would add the bitters and stuff to it to try and, make it more flavorful.
And that's more of a northern drink, isn't it?
What, an old
fashioned?
I don't know. The funny part is when I started drinking, the only people that drank old fashions were like my grandparents' age. And now it's like everybody drinks them, which I won't complain about because you can get good ones. You get a lot more bad ones now too.
Yeah.
But people put a little more effort into it. But when I go someplace, I ask the bartender to explain making it to me.
I'm sure they'd love to hear that.
Not to sound like a snob. Well, the problem I run into is you go into I've been to so many places, and they'll put Sprite or soda water in it, and I just want to choke those people. I don't care that my glass only has 2 fingers of liquid in a rocks glass. I'm expecting it to show up and only have, roughly 3 ounces of liquid in the glass. And I know I'm going to pay $10 for that 3 ounces of liquid. I don't care. When my glass comes out and it's full, I already know it's watered down crap.
For those of you who are not getting our live feed right now, the intensity in Bob's eyes is almost frightening. But
it's because it costs so much.
Before I get blamed for taking us off track, I think there's an elephant in the room we need to talk about.
What's that?
Frank. Yeah.
Have you been reading the podcast descriptions?
No
good son of a gun, Frank. So our producer guy, he's a total. He might get fired when we get done.
Yeah,
he says nobody listens to or reads the
show
notes or description, whatever you call them. And he said that this was a steaming pile, and that's a quote, a direct quote.
I thought we had stuff in his contract to stop this from happening.
Well, the funny part is he said he didn't get paid enough for this, and well, unless you've been giving money, I sure haven't. He volunteered, and you know what? Sometimes you got to be smart and not volunteer for dumb things.
Yeah, well, Frank's been dropping the ball, so maybe on our Instagram page or something we could Maybe put a now hiring sign to replace Frank.
Yeah, I keep hearing ads for Indeed or ZipRecruiter or something on the Daily Wire.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think those people are expecting to get paid too.
Well, before we get too far into this, let's get this out. You've answered one of my typical questions.
Hang on.
All right.
Before we get going,
Okay.
this is a public service announcement rant. Shut up. I have a small rant.
What's an announcement?
A public service, a PSA rant. I have a PSA rant. I know everybody in the world is getting tired of seeing tip jars, and you go to the everywhere and you pay for something and they ask you for a tip, and they did nothing to deserve a tip. And I'll be honest, if you're making minimum wage or more, I don't think you deserve a tip unless you dramatically go out of your way to go above and beyond to do a service. I'm going to offer a tip at that point because you went above and beyond. Unless you're making like a waiter or a waitress or a bartender that's making below minimum wage, you're not getting a tip. This is for all you coffee baristas or whatever you weirdos are called. You're not getting a tip. You're making an hourly wage. If you didn't like getting the hourly wage, figure out something better to do that pays better.
Yeah. I'm with you there. Keep going.
Now, the reason I bring this up, and this morning, I was at my wit's end because I was online and I was buying something online.
No, don't even say this.
I am dead serious. They had a tip jar asking if you liked your service, if you would give and it listed out percentages of tips. I don't remember how. I was so mad that I was like, I'll be honest, I almost canceled my order. I still bought from them. I did not give them a tip. And this is for any business out there. If your people, if you've got tip jars out and all of your people are making at least minimum wage, and you think they need to be paid more, but you don't want to pay it out of your pocket, up your prices.
Yep.
The stuff I was buying this morning, I'd have rather paid another $5 per item and not seen that on my screen. That absolutely infuriated me.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous. If your employees are unhappy with what they're getting paid, they need to quit, go someplace else that pays better, and you're a lousy boss because you're probably not keeping up with the times. And I know stuff's out there is tough. I get it. I totally understand that. Small increases. And then don't just keep it to yourself because you're a scumbag. Help your employees out so I don't have to look at that tip jar for an hourly employee.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done ranting.
We went on a shipwreck tour up in Munising, and it was a great tour. Everybody knew what they were doing, what they were speaking about. Great, and I felt so bad. We got done with the tour, and this guy's holding like a fishbowl when you're departing the boats. This pandering for tips, and I shouldn't even say pandering because, they're probably doing what they can to get some extra money. But I don't tip my doctor. I'm my own mechanic, but I
don't get tipped.
Yeah, I don't tip in service industry.
And I'm in the service industry.
Raise your prices. Pay your waiters, your waitresses, whomever, your busboys. Pay them a commission. You sell a hamburger, or tonight's special is X. You get 0.5% of every burger you sell. Whatever it is.
Every special you sell. Yeah.
Hide it in the price, but it's because we've come into a society that's so big on, I'll leave a $200 tip for a $20 burger. Like, you're dumb. You're dumb.
Well, okay, and I will say this, so people just don't think I'm some cheapskate. I am. If I go to a restaurant or a bar and I have a really good service, I am going to tip really well. It is not it is not uncommon for me to tip 22 to 25% if I think you did a very good job. My daughter was a car hop. I understand what that's like from listening to her talk. Obviously, I don't have any personal experience because I worked in food service when I was 14 for all of about a month and realized I was not cut out for that kind of work. But, my daughter pointed some things out as she was car hopping when she was first started working. And, I get it. And somebody that's making $2 an hour as a waiter or a waitress, and their majority of their money comes in off of tips, I get tipping them. And the ones that do a really good job, I will tip very well. Now, while we were on vacation, we were at a restaurant that I absolutely love eating at. It's a place that we eat at every time we're there. They have a terrific bar and probably the best whiskey selection I've ever seen in a bar. But anyways, they have a new bar manager that they had hired while we were there, and I heard them talking to the restaurant manager, and that was one of the things that she was talking about implementing was, what do you call it?
Gratuity?
No, where they were going to put all the tips into
where they pay out the back?
Yeah, like shared tips or whatever.
Yeah.
So all the tips went into a pot, and then everybody got equal amount of tips.
So each waitress or whoever did it.
I can tell you this. I know Applebee's, I can't swear to you that they're still this way because I haven't been into an Applebee's in so long I couldn't tell you. Because their food's just not that good anymore. At least the one by us isn't. But like, when I found out they were doing the combined tips or the shared tips or whatever, I have a standard tip at a place like that. If I know that a restaurant that I'm going to has shared tips, it's a $5 tip, period. And that's my family, the three of us going out for supper. I don't care if the bill is $50 or $150. I'm leaving a $5 tip because I'm not tipping some scumbag that's not pulling their weight. And I feel really bad if we have a waiter or a waitress that does a really good job. And I flat tell them, I'll give you more if you put this in your pocket. But if you're going to go over there and claim it, or put it in the pool, ain't happening. You get a 5 spot. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, it's like everything else. It's not equality based, it's work ethic based.
Yeah.
How I've been judged my entire life.
No, I'm with you. I am 15%, the most you'll really see out of me, or 0. I can tell you in
this
the past.
Is why you got the nickname from Morris.
Yeah, it might be. That's just how I am. Charge more. I mean, we got people out here tipping, and I'm really not going to try to run down this rabbit hole, but we got people out here tipping that have no business tipping because their own finances are in shambles. You can call me whatever you want. I tip 15%. If you do a good job, I do 15%. If you do an outstanding job. There was one time we did more than that, and you know what this lady did for us? Absolutely nothing. When my drinks were empty, she filled them. She did not bother us at all, and I was just in a good mood. But other than that, it's 15%. I'll get the calculator out.
I will tell you, the one time I really, and I'm not trying to brag on myself here, in all honesty, it's because I really do feel bad. So, as you know, for the past many years, me and my family have gone on vacation over Christmas. I'm staying in a hotel. I don't have any way to cook Christmas dinner. Yes, I knew this before I left. However, we're in a tourist town, so there's usually a handful of restaurants that open like lunchtime or a little later. So they're open for supper. and we go to one specific restaurant for Christmas when we're there because my daughter really likes to eat there, and so we always go there. That is one day. Like, I think our waiter this year I give a 40% tip to because I felt really bad. And I do Christmas Day I always tip way over because it's like I feel guilty. I even told our waiter this year, and he was a super cool guy, but
just like Ebenezer.
Who? What?
Ebenezer Scrooge. You know, on Christmas you get the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah. I got a question though.
Okay.
Can we get back to this podcast?
Yes.
Are you sure? I mean, is there any charities you want to go after real quick? And
No.
there's a lot I'd like to. So let's go ahead as normal. What are you smoking? What are you smoking it out
I
of?
am smoking some Saint Espresso because actually, for some odd reason, I haven't smoked any Saint Espresso in like 3 days, which normally is odd because it's something I generally smoke every evening. And I'm smoking it out of a Peterson Irish Harp in a 127 shape. So that would be a bent Dublin. And it is sandblasted, which is the reason I bought it. And in all honesty, the Irish Harp line from Peterson is probably my favorite. I like the pipe the finish that's on the briar, and then with the combination of the silver accent and then the stem coloration, it just, I don't know, it really appeals to me. So
it's an interesting looking pipe.
It is one of the factory pipe. I think as far as factory pipes go, I own more Peterson Irish Harps than I probably own of any other one style.
Hey, I'll give it to that guy too. With a name like Peterson, and he makes pipes.
It was originally Cap'n Peterson.
Okay, I'll give it to the guy.
Okay.
All right.
Whatever.
Are you doing your test with Ace? Oh, no, we're not supposed to let him know, are we?
No.
Okay. Never mind. Beep.
And we did have some replies to your question on how many pipes other people have.
All right.
One of them was Ace. Ace replied back that he first said 7, and then he had to respond again and says he lied and said it was 9.
How do you lose 2 pipes, Ace?
And then Russ that I met through the Indiana Pipe Club, I think he said he had 47. And he was he has a cap. He won't go over a certain number.
Yeah.
So that means I had to actually, as soon as I seen responses, I did, as Mark and I agreed, I counted. So I have 35.
Gosh. I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was gonna be more. I mean, 35 is still borderline crazy. Not for you, Russ.
The funny part is Carmen was in the basement when I was going through them and counting, and so she heard me say 34. The one I forgot about was the Dr. Graybo that's laying up here in the barn that I don't ever take out of the barn.
Well, good. That's always nice. So we got some interaction, so people are listening.
Yeah, and then I also got a DM from Nate. Nate, I appreciate you listening to the podcast and giving us some words of encouragement. It was Mark, quit making faces, you freak. Anyways,
I'm not.
Nate,
you were giving me one of those.
We appreciate the feedback.
We definitely do. We appreciate all the feedback.
Yeah. So, anyways, we were going to talk about something. You told me to quit talking, that this was good podcast material.
Yeah, it was the ramblings of a drunk man.
I'm
who's
not
claiming
drunk.
not to be drunk.
It's been a long day. Maybe it's my blood sugar.
Yeah. I don't know. Your face is awful red.
I will tell you what. So my brother was up, as you know, and we had to do some work on my niece's car. just some service work, nothing major. But when we got done with that, we took it down to the farm and put it in the barn, the shop at the farm. Got that taken care of, and then we come back to the house and decided my brother wanted to do a little shooting, so we went outside and shot. And I will be honest, I've ran around all day, nothing more than a sweatshirt on, and I thought it was fine. But of course, we were, the shop at the farm's heated, so I didn't think anything about it. It's been really good. I got news for you. When we got out back on the range, I thought I was going to die. It was cold out there.
Yeah.
The wind was whipping through the firing point like you wouldn't believe. And it was like, I finally told my brother, I was like, dude, I'm done. I was like, I can't take it anymore. I said, I can't feel any of my fingers.
Oh.
So it was not good.
Yeah. Yep. So yesterday, I burnt some syrup.
You burnt some
Oh,
syrup.
yeah. Yeah, we were getting close on everything. I think I talked to you. We were kind of getting things ready, heading to town, do some grocery shopping, and I had the fire pretty much killed down, and it wasn't as down as I thought. I ran into the house, and I knew I shouldn't have, but I ran into the house real quick, came out, and I could smell it halfway back to the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. You smell the char first, but then you get close, then it smells like butterscotch.
Oh, I bet that was good.
Yeah. Well, today
Hey, you didn't happen to bring any syrup
you
with?
didn't happen to remind me, did you? You can come over to my
You know
house
what?
and just remind me.
I don't forget to bring you firewood when I come to your house.
I appreciate that. No, you got to remind me.
Your memory's terrible.
All I got was a text message from you saying, I'm ready.
Well, that's because you were already a day late.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was just, I don't know, one of them days.
Oh, no, it worked out good because, I shot a YouTube video yesterday for the Firewood channel. And as you know, the weather yesterday was not ideal for producing firewood. And I was like, it kind of bummed me out because I really wanted to get outside. And I wanted to do a splitting video, but you and I had talked about starting to modify my box store log splitter. So I was going to split yesterday, but I was going to record everything. So we had a baseline. So I was, recorded what the ambient air temperature was. I was going to take my infrared thermometer outside and check the temperature of the cylinder once it got to operating temperature and all that sort of stuff. And so I had everything planned out, and then the ice and the freezing rain, the rain, the snow, the freezing rain, back to ice, and so on and so forth. It was a miserable day here.
Yeah.
But so it kind of screwed all that up. But I have talked about doing a video on my wood stoves for some time, and it was like, oh, we'll see what happens. So I shot a video. The only thing I don't like about doing videos like that is on my Firewood channel, I'm really trying to work towards getting my videos where they do not exceed 10 minutes. And that's been a goal for a while now, and I'm really struggling with it. So, I think the video I did yesterday, and it'll come out Tuesday. I was impressed with the weather being the way it was. I got it all shot. It's edited. I have it uploaded to YouTube, and it's just scheduled to release it on Tuesday. That channel, as you know, I try to always put that channel out at a pretty consistent time. Anyways, it went on. It was like a 27 or 28 minute video. But in all honesty, I kind of went back and watched it, and I think it did okay. I got a little bit of some storytelling in there, plus talked about my woodland stove and my Vermont casting stove, and I don't know. I think it we'll see.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people say they were interested in a video on it. So
Yeah. You see this this coming Wednesday, same forecast.
yeah,
This last Wednesday. So
I heard.
sure I'll be off work again, just at home loving that. On your videos, I'm gonna tell you, we had a talk with a mutual friend. I won't say his name, but had to talk with
Is
him.
he a redhead?
And we were talking about TikTok videos,
Oh God.
and he does his videos,
Yeah.
and
I finally seen one the other day.
yeah.
It wasn't on TikTok. He showed it to me.
yeah,
Well, it may have been on TikTok, but he showed it to me on his phone.
and what I went and watched some of his, and it's like I see how you get views because TikTok's just like YouTube. And that's what that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm going a long way around the barn, but he does short videos. So even if you're just scrolling through and you stop to see what the video is, you have watched long enough to count. Do you think a 29-minute video for you, like, do you think there's more people watching it than what?
No,
Okay. That's the only
No.
question I had.
because that's the thing is, and that's what to me that's what's goofy about YouTube. Like I'll go in and I look to see how long. You know, you can go in on your analytics and you can see how long people watch. Excuse me. You can see how long they watched. And most of my videos, if I have a 10 to 15 minute video, average view time is at roughly 3 minutes. The funny part is if I cut all of my videos down to 3 minutes, they watch for 30 seconds.
Oh,
I mean, so it's just that percentage, and it's splitting firewood.
Well,
I know they're not gonna watch along. Like I have noticed that, like on my tobacco channel, those people are more prone to watch the whole video.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I had I don't know. I think Frank was probably getting involved with my stuff this morning because I had this gnarly cherry. No, there ain't no cherry tops. I had this gnarly walnut top back in the woods that I was going to cut up today.
Yeah.
So I took tractor back and, took. That's the one thing I guess I'm learning that you've talked about. Took a chore that should have lasted me probably an hour, and
Yeah.
it took 3.
yeah.
Because I'm setting cameras up and
Yep.
it's fun to do because I don't know it's just fun to do. But so I'm setting cameras up. I drag my winch cable over 6 tops because the only way I can pull this and actually not get it caught on more trees, I have to pull it across some tops. But it's like that's gonna be a really cool shot. So I'm ripping on it and I have my earbud in. I don't know why. But my tractor's got Bluetooth in it, so it connects to my phone. Everything I had my earbud in to see if somebody text messaged me because they'd shut off my camera.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even connected to my earbud; it was connected to the tractor, and the volume was down. And it's nothing fancy. Well, if the radio volume's down, you don't know it's ringing. My buddy Al called, and he called like 2 minutes into the shot. And it was some really cool footage that I didn't have. And then where it was set up, I finally got the log drug down to me. I hoist it up. And I'm like, I can just drive away, and it's going to be a really cool shot. I get done. I go back, and it just says missed call from Bundy. Like, crap. But, yeah. At that point, I'm like, well, buy me a DJI camera.
Are you gonna buy a DJI?
I don't know.
DJI. God, you're
Oh,
as
my
bad
gosh. Yeah.
as I am. I got you saying it. That's hilarious.
Oh, so reverse back to the maple syrup. I just want to tell you, we flavored today with the mystery flavor that we've never done before was vanilla.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me deer tongue.
No, deer tongue. That's next week. That's our private selection, anyways.
Okay.
But it was vanilla,
yeah.
and that is like I got a standing ovation from the wife and kids. And
they are your family. They are not going to be brutally
They're the
honest.
worst ones about it. They hate the cinnamon. Well, they don't hate it. They hate the cinnamon while I make it.
What kind of communist did you marry and reproduce?
I don't know. But the vanilla,
the cinnamon was
love.
fantastic. Now, I don't want the cinnamon all the time. I won't lie. But like on
Well, at this
certain
point,
things,
you'd be happy with anything.
that's, I'm telling you. And I don't do crappy French toast either. You people that put an egg wash on a piece of toast and call it French toast, you're commies. Okay? French toast is supposed to be battered in a batter. Do you hear me? And fried. And it is delicious. And if you do it like my grandmother, she put brown sugar on it and then covered it in syrup.
Yeah.
So it was like you went into diabetic coma in the first bite.
So,
I skipped the brown sugar because it makes the fillings in my teeth hurt. But that I'm telling you, my French toast with your cinnamon maple syrup, you'll slap your own mother.
it sounds like there's a little few too many carbs in there for me.
I'm not telling you to get up and eat it every morning for breakfast.
All right. So I want to shift gears a little bit here because I think you're in the mood that we could break one of the rules that we've set at one point here.
We had rules set. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wrong pipe.
So
That was a joke, people.
you've seen what's going on in the news, and we talked about it earlier. I don't know if you wanted to talk about it or not, but this whole Super Bowl's going on. Everybody's watching the Super Bowl to watch
Except for us.
Yeah, well, we're normal people. Well, I guess we're not normal, but
Well, and I guess technically the Super Bowl probably hasn't started yet, has it?
once again, I'm here with you. I don't know. No, I don't.
That's
think
played
it
on a
is.
wooden court, right? Where they throw it up into the basket.
Yeah, it's the one they use the horses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
in
talking
the
about.
water. Yeah, yeah. Elon Musk and Doge.
Okay,
I
let's
I
have
am
it.
here is my, and I'm not even gonna call it a rant. I don't know. I don't have the words to describe it. I am so just confused. We have a guy right now that's volunteering his time, great businessman, and I do understand a great businessman does not mean it's somebody I'd want poking around at everything. But at this point, this guy is saving us so much money. How could anybody? You hear the things they're saying about him.
Okay, so all those people that are complaining and saying nasty things about him, it's really simple. When he starts cutting all this spending out, somehow or another, they were getting some sort of kickback from that. So it's going to cut into the money in their pocket because they're a bunch of scumbag politicians.
I agree.
And not all politicians are scumbags because I know a few, and I genuinely like them. And they're outstanding people. Granted, most of those people are at the state level.
Yeah. But
Or
I guess even take the politicians out. And I get a lot of this. Like my wife will tell me about people she works with. That is seriously how I gauge what's going on in America is how the people she works with react. Because it's like a good mixture. It really is. Watching you smoke that makes me lose my train of thought. They're a good mixture of classes, of races, of everything. It really is. It's like having your pulse on America, but they are 100% convinced Elon's doing this to line his own pocket.
Okay. If you people haven't figured this out yet, the only thing Elon is interested in is getting somebody to Mars.
Yeah.
Now, it's not because he wants people to live on Mars. He wants to mine lithium on Mars. That's my conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
So, you can put your tinfoil-lined armadillo hat on now.
But that is like he's not even really involved with Tesla much. He's going after, I think he wanted Trump in just from his own personal things that happened in his life with his kids. He's seen Trump fixing that, but we're attacking him in such a way that he's took out $30 million for Super Bowl ads.
Did he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, he's paying for these ads for himself just to show where our money's going.
That's good. And see, to me, that's the thing is, and I'll be the first one to admit, when I was, I would say, a teenager, while I'm chatting, will you do me a favor and unplug that fan? I just realized it's been running while we've been sitting here. But since I was a teenager, or when I was a teenager, I should say, my opinion was I dreaded people knowing what the government was like. UFOs, for instance. I prayed for the longest time that if UFOs are real and the government knew about it, I honestly thought it was okay for the government not to tell us that, because people didn't know how to react. There are so many people, like, you watch what happened with the election and some of these people that were, and I'm not, if you didn't vote for Trump, if you voted for Kamala Harris, I could care less. I know how I voted, and I feel really good about the way I voted. To me, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But these people that think the world's going to end because this person won or this person lost or whatever the case may be, for the longest time, the way those people reacted is why I thought there was certain things the government didn't need to let people know, because people were too stupid to handle it. They flipped out and they would wig out and they would go and do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And we don't need that. But as I've gotten older, considerably older, that opinion has changed because I figured out how much crap the government just hides. And we're paying for it. And to be totally transparent, it bothered me even more after the first time I went to my accountant and they says, oh, by the way, you owe the federal government $8,000. And yeah, we understand you've paid in all year, but why do I owe the government money? I've received a tax return my entire life, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I owe the government money. And they're like, oh yeah, well, you have to fill out this form. Lady, I've been employed with this employer longer than that form's been around.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know. So I probably started paying even more attention once that happened, and now I want that clarity. I want to know where every tax dollar we spend, because they can come and audit us at any time.
Yeah.
And then the people should be allowed to audit them.
Yes, the people, and that's the thing that I really like with Elon. It's like that dude's a loose cannon. It don't matter what Elon's going to say, whatever Elon wants to say. And if him and Trump have a falling out, they can't shut Elon up. He owns a social media platform.
Correct.
And everybody
and
will
let's
share
be
his
realistic.
stuff.
And all you people that think that he's going crazy and he's this, super wealthy conservative, Elon Musk is not a conservative. No. Elon Musk is a liberal that got attacked by the crazy left people.
Look at Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I mean, can see it happening.
Yeah, these guys, they're
the left has gone so. Obviously, you can tell where me and Mark stand on this stuff at this point.
But we also know this problem was not created just by Democrats or Republicans. It was created by everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's one thing. I like listening to Matt Walsh because to me he's humorous. I like his, his deadpan. I find it humorous. It entertains me. I don't always agree with everything he says. And I don't think everybody should agree with everything I say. You and I are perfect examples of this. We have our overall look on the way things should be done is very similar. But we have some dramatically different ways of getting to that. And, but we are still very good friends. We talk on a regular basis, and we've never shot at each other. When the left goes super crazy, the problem is the right does. Well, we don't want to, upset the apple cart. I got news for you. I will burn the apple cart to the ground.
Yeah.
Because at some point, somebody's got to step in and make a dramatic change. Otherwise, it's going to be these two people just going back and forth. One side's going to go super crazy. And I don't care which side it is, because I think both sides have done it. They go super crazy. And then the other side's like, well, we just need to let this go so we can. There is a point where you can do that. But then there's a fine line right there where it's like, yeah, we need to kind of just let this go through so we can get this done.
Yeah. Well, and
because Trump did a really good job. I don't remember when it was, but he was talking about it, and he was saying, yes, we have to. I have to be willing to do this because I have to get elected. I have to be able to get to the position so we can make these other changes. Ben Shapiro did a really good. The way he said it, and I can't quote him. I don't remember. It's been too long since he said it. But in one of his shows, he was talking about if he does 60% of what he said he did, he's doing a tremendous job.
Yep. But the thing with Trump too, though, is the concessions he makes, he'll still do. He don't make empty promises. If he gets 60% done, he'll try everything.
Yeah.
But that's why I think Elon in this position is so great, because he can take it. If there's somebody like Trump, whether you like him or not, you have to admit everything the guy's been through. He just keeps waking up every day and coming back for more, and he knows he knows he's going to get out of office, and the best thing for him would be 4 years of another Republican. So at that point, he's old enough news. But
and in all honesty, I think if he holds to everything, if we'll use what Shapiro said, if he holds to 60%, if he can accomplish a majority at 60% of 51%,
yeah,
if he can hold those promises true, I think you'll see, and I won't say a Republican for necessarily, but you'll see more right-leaning conservatives taking that place.
And if anything,
because be honest, if any of you listening think that Trump is a conservative, you're out of your mind once again.
Yeah,
he's not.
And that's the whole thing. If it could just bring people back to normal.
He is middle of the road.
Yeah.
He's a normal person.
Yep. And that's...
And to me, those are the people that get stuff done.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to make concessions on this so that we can get this done, because, their constituents feel that this is more important. So we'll take it. We'll make some concessions on point A as long as you'll pass point B.
Yep.
And I'm good with that.
And there's claims out there, and I don't know if any of them are true. That's the hardest thing right now. Most of this information's coming through social media, and you're trying to drink from a fire hose.
Yeah.
And what's right, what's wrong, I don't know. But there's some claims going on that Chelsea Clinton was getting a bunch of money. Whether that's true or not, I do know that they're going to say it's persecuting political adversaries, but I think this Attorney General Trump has, I think they're going to, and rightfully so. You come into office broke.
Did you watch her confirmation, the AG? I watched bits and pieces.
No, because I was Department of Defense. I was too.
Okay. I watched some clips of her going through her confirmation hearing. That lady is awesome.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've felt like in a long time when I've seen any of this stuff going on, where I felt like the people that the president had, brought up for these positions, like these people are like just beasts. I don't know how else to put it.
Hey, Secretary of Education, man, Stephanie McMahon. I mean, that one's crazy. But if you sit back and think, it's like, look at how big wrestling is.
Yeah.
And she understands how to run a business, and
And that's the thing. And I'm not trying to sound like a nutcase, but I'm okay with them just doing away with. I think the public school system should go back to the states.
Yeah.
That way, if California wants to teach you all that left-wing, radical LGBTQMP whatever, they can. Whatever. Just keep it on your side of the state line. And when those people graduate high school, make sure they stay in California. We don't need them out in the normal world. And I apologize to you folks that live in California, because I know there's some of you that are, normal.
Yeah. So, but that's the whole thing. The Department of Education, Trump has control of that right now. He could, I don't know how easy, but he could go in there and say, listen, everybody's going to wake up in the morning, come to school, and pray. Like, the Federal Department of Education says so. Give it back to the states. The funding, I don't know how they do the funding. I know where they're going to go after them, because it's how they always go after when they start, like school choice. My mom, my sister, my brother-in-law, they all work in parochial schools, private schools, and my mom's done that most of her life, and she'll tell you, the only reason the private schools are still around, the Catholic private schools, is because school choice, But she'll also tell you that's going to be what ends it. When I went to school, I went to a parochial grade school. Parents had to write a check every year, just like everyone else's parents. Well, when you're in a poor community like we were in, and you're writing a $3,000 check every year for your kid to go to school, you made sure your kid was learning something.
Yeah.
And this is back early.
You were invested.
Yes, and that's what it was.
I've talked about that even where I work, where you used to work. We talk about that. The maintenance guys show up every day, and they have something invested. We have tools. We have stuff that we have to bring to work with us every day, whereas an operator shows up with a dinner bucket with their lunch in it, and that's the only thing they have invested in that day. So if they tear up a piece of equipment that it's going to take you the next 3 days to put back together, they really don't care.
Nope.
And it's the same everywhere else. I'm not saying that stuff should cost more out of the pocket. I'm saying that if people are financially invested, they will take more interest in it.
Yeah. Well, that's shifting gears. I mean, like tariffs, because we dodged them for a little while. I was sitting here like, do it. Play chicken with them. Is it the smartest thing? I don't know, but it's different, and everybody seems to be losing their mind over it.
And we did just fine with it that way for a long time.
Yeah. It's like China. That's what's funny, though. So you've seen Mexico, they negotiated first, then Canada, how about I said Canada? Canada came around, and we worked things out with both of them. And they're like, what about China? And Trump's like, don't care. And China's coming out wanting to retaliate, but it's not. They need us. Like they're in all kinds of trouble as it is, financially, population wise. They need us to keep buying their crap.
And that's the thing. Go with tariffs. You and I have talked about this many a time. It boils down to people want all kinds of stuff, and let's be realistic. You can stand on the tallest soapbox in the world and complain about this, that, or the other, but when it all boils down to it, you make all those decisions are made on how you spend your money.
Yep.
If you don't like it, spend your money differently. That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Well, like I was watching, there was and it's old. I don't remember how old it was, but it was a like a Senate hearing or something like that. and the lady wanted to ban plastics, and that was the guy that was, asking her questions. It was like, what's that water bottle you're drinking out of made out of? Well, it's aluminum. He says, the lid's not. It's plastic. How about that cell phone you got? Well, it's glass. The insides aren't. There's plastic in all them circuit boards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's what he was getting at is, if you want us to quit manufacturing or financially supporting an industry, do it with your dollar. Quit buying that product. Go to an alternative.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But the problem is all these people that are screaming at the top of their lungs about that stuff, they don't grasp. And I won't say who it was. And this is the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it proves my point. A grown young lady that I've known since she was born. We were sitting down eating, having pork chops. I bought these beautiful smoked pork chops from the Ossian meat market or whatever you call it. You know where I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Ossian smoked pork chops. They are the
the Cadillac of pork chops.
Oh yes, I love these things. All you got to do is throw some butter on them, warm them up on the grill. They are delicious. Besides the point, we're sitting down there eating these 1.25 inch thick cut smoked pork chops. They're absolutely fantastic.
I am getting very hungry.
I know that's why I keep bringing it up. And we were asked what animal they came from. How in the hell does a 20-year-old girl not know what animal a pork chop comes from?
Yep.
I was baffled. My daughter, that is at the time considerably younger, says, a pig, of course. Why would you ask that? I mean,
yeah.
It's just, people have become so oblivious to what, they pay attention to what's on the screen, and they just don't pay attention. And I'm saying this as a person, I post stuff on YouTube. I have 2 different YouTube channels. I post stuff to Instagram. I spend a lot of time on social media. More time than I should spend on social media. But there's such a dramatic difference in the people that were, I'll say, babysat via a screen versus a person. And it's like, I honestly don't think people anymore know where stuff comes from. Yeah. We are too far removed.
You talk about the babysitting. So we were on vacation, and my sister was there with my niece and nephew, and I don't remember what was all said, but they were gonna let their niece and nephew at dinner that night. They were gonna let them have their little tablet, and it's like, if they don't need it now, don't give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner came. One of the tablets didn't work, and it just like World War III. It was like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And but now those kids, they have the tablets with them, and I'm not against that. I really am not against that at all, except for the fact that the younger generation, they are so overly informed and undereducated. They have the information to the whole world at their fingertips, and yet they don't know where pork chops come from.
Mm-hmm.
It baffles me, but it's an easy way. People want to take the easy way when it comes to raising their kids, and I mean, to me, it's babies having babies. That's the biggest. In a household, there needs to be two
And-
parents.
And I'm not going to try and get crazy religious on here, but I'm going to say this. The reason it worked for the first 200 years is because we were a Christian-based nation.
Yeah.
And if you think you have morals, but you're an atheist, guess what? You're wrong. Morals are based on Christian belief. The reason you know right from wrong is all stems from a faith-based belief. That's where morals come from. That's how the idea of morals began. I don't know if I'm saying it right or putting it in the right frame of words, but in reality, if we did not have Christian beliefs, you wouldn't have morals, would be non-existent. If the 10 Commandments didn't exist, you wouldn't have a moral code.
Yeah.
So even before Christianity is what I'm getting at.
And if people don't want to,
It's still a belief in God.
yeah, but
Not
even
a God, the God.
just like what you said, like the 10 Commandments, if that was framed in a different way, like the 10 humanly rules,
Mm-hmm.
it just stick with me, everybody'd go with it. It's like they spend a lot of time trying to disconnect people from God because it disconnects you from your morals.
Yeah.
You know, do I think a lot of people, I mean, I think there's plenty of people who, you know, do the whole persona of a Christian and all that. They have no fear of going to hell, or, you know, whether they believe that or not, I don't know. But I'm with you. And I think, though, like these kids, they need two parents. Do they need to both?
Absolutely.
Do they need to be the nuclear family? No, they just need two parents to be there. Two co-people to be politically correct, to be there. You know, for these kids.
And I think it needs to be a mother and a father.
Well, because
Because I mean, if I had been raised by two of my dad, I would be a terrorist.
yeah, and I'm with you, but yeah, but one of your dad wouldn't have been good either.
And my dad was a good dad, but I needed what I'm getting at there is I needed the balance
Yeah.
of, you know, that's the thing is me and Carmen raising Hadley, and it's really funny because she's coming of, you know, my daughter is 19 years old now, and I'm starting to see her do things. She bought her first car, and you know, I watched her go. She did the whole process by herself. The only reason I got involved was she's 19 and doesn't have any credit. She has a credit card, but she had no credit history. So when she went to buy a car, she needed a co-signer because she had no credit history. So I co-signed on a loan for her. But the whole car buying process, she did, like, I knew she had been looking at cars, and then she just called out of the blue one day and says, "Hey, Dad, I'm buying a car, and I tried to finance it by myself. I don't have enough credit history. Can you co-sign for me?" And I straight up pulled a Tony Ferguson on her and says, "The first payment you miss on this car." And she just gave me that ungodly stare. What?
You Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, my dad. What about him?
All right, keep going.
I missed it.
What time are we at?
I don't know. The good news is, hey, it's still recording. We're at an hour.
An hour? Okay.
Yeah. But you know, that was the first time watching her go through that process. I finally felt that it was like, I felt good about how I raised the kid. And the point I'm trying to get at, I got way off subject there with the Tony Ferguson story. The point I'm getting at is it wasn't just because she was doing things the way I would have done it. If it hadn't have been for the way that I viewed things and the way my wife, and don't get me wrong, Carmen and I both have a very similar outlook on how things should be. The way we get there varies a little bit, and that is what balances us out. And that is the reason I think that's the ideal way to do it. You need that balance.
Yeah. And I'm not going to disagree with you, but it's one of those things. If you can have two people, two's better than one. At the end of the day, in
absolutely,
a single mother, a single father, it's just there's going to be a lot of challenges, but you can't be your kid's friend. You're getting to the age where now you can be their best friend. You still got lessons to teach, but you raise your kids right, they're going to be one of your best friends, and that's something I see with my in-laws. Like, there's, and not saying, I'm sure they look at me and they're like, Mark doesn't let his kids have any fun, and they're probably right. But I have the worst theory in the world. If you grow up and you hate me, and you're successful in life, and you feel safe and all that, I did my job just fine. You can hate me all you want.
Yep.
And that's,
the funny part is if that's how they turn out, they're not going to hate you.
No.
They're going to understand what happened. And that's, you and I have had this conversation before, but after I'll give a little background. And I know this is how I wind up usually getting sidetracked, but I'll try and keep it on point. I come home from my honeymoon when Carmen and I got married. And in that week's time, my dad had packed up my entire bedroom. My entire bedroom was empty when I come back from my honeymoon. I was in the process of building a house. My house wasn't done till another 2 weeks after I come back from my honeymoon. And I got home and my bedroom, all of my crap was packed up in boxes. And I mean everything. Like, my bed was disassembled. It was all piled at the overhead door in my parents' garage. Dad says, well, you're married now. Thanks, Dad. House ain't quite done. I'm not sure where I'm going to put all this crap. and I'll be the first one, especially through my teen years. Me and my dad definitely did not see eye to eye. But after I got married and I had been out of the house for a few years, my parents had gone on a trip, and this sign is hanging up in my shop. If we went up there right now, it's hanging on the wall behind my toolbox. There's a sign up there that says, by the time your children are suitable to live with, they're living with someone else.
I know the sign.
And my dad handed that to me, and I opened it up, I read it, and I kind of snickered. And I apologized to my dad for all those times that I was complaining about not getting this or not getting that, or wasn't able to do this, or I wasn't allowed to do that. Because it finally, after I had been out of the house for a number of years and was married, living on my own, it occurred to me that there was nothing growing up that I ever asked for that I didn't get. Now, was it in the time frame that a 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kid thought they should get it in? Probably not. But there is not one thing that I could think of that I ever genuinely asked for that I did not get. And I did. I apologized to my dad and told him, I'm sorry I was such an asshole. I mean, that's how I felt. But it's, me and Chris were talking about that earlier, because my nephew and my daughter are they're just a matter of months apart. And, we were discussing that, and, my brother was making a comment how his son kind of argues with him on a certain point. And I says, he's 19. You're still an idiot. You got a couple more years till you know what you're doing again.
Yep.
Of course, we had a chuckle about that, but it's, and I'm not saying anything bad about my brother or my nephew, because I was the same way with my parents, and that is the truest statement you could ever make. Once you become a teenager, all of a sudden your parents know nothing. You know everything. You're the most worldly person that you can think of.
I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, until you get to a point, until you're out on your own and you finally can see it from your parents' point of view. That's when, and I'm not saying you got to have kids. You just need to be married and working and doing adult things, living in a 100% adult life. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, yeah, this is just like mom or dad said it was going to be. I probably should not have been such a pain in the butt and listened a little more to what they had to say.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that's how it was for me. But, well, that took a weird turn.
I was going to say, that was one of our more interesting sidetracks.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I know you don't because, well, you're not a very good co-host. You don't listen to any of the podcasts.
I told you I've listened to one.
Which one?
It was like the first one we put out, not the intro, but the one after that.
Really?
If I listen to it, then I'll try to, I don't know, influence it.
Mm. And see, the only reason I ever listen to him is because I'm listening to make sure Frank's doing his job.
Yeah, well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
I'm serious. We ought to fire that guy.
we probably should. Bring it all back in-house.
Yeah. That's what you get. Get somebody off Craigslist.
He can come off of Craigslist. Frank's family.
Oh. You're related to that booger eater?
Unfortunately.
Oh, man.
We're closer than I'd like to admit.
Yeah. So?
I don't remember what I was saying.
What else is there? This is why you shouldn't be drinking your old fashions before we...
I had one old fashioned.
And your allergy medicine and whatever else. What's in the pipe you're smoking? You're chewing on that darn thing.
It's Saint Espresso.
Oh. The Colombian version?
I don't know where Warp Cigars is, what those are. That's funny because it's got cigar leaf in it, but I've never had a warped cigar. I should probably get some. Try them sometime.
Be something good for you.
It might be. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of coming up short-handed too.
Well, how are you doing with the TikToks and the YouTubes? I'm curious about. I'll be honest. So, like I said, I listen back to the episodes because I'm just trying to hear how the audio turned out and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was really frustrated because I figured out you are definitely the one that gets me sidetracked. The problem is you just let me go.
Oh.
Because I go.
Have you ever tried interrupting you?
No,
it doesn't work. There's been
the only person that interrupts me is Frank.
Yeah, and he does a piss poor job. It's easier just to let you go and tire yourself out.
Because the last episode I was listening back to it, and it was like it finally occurred to me. It was like, yeah, we get Mark's the one that you know hits the old switching the rails on me, but it's like then I just like. It's like, oh, we're on the wrong track now. Full speed ahead.
Yeah.
And it's awful. I was like, kind of can't believe I get this far off. It's terrible listening back to yourself.
Yeah.
It teach you a lot about yourself.
That's why I don't listen. I don't want to learn.
But yeah, it kind of aggravated me because I actually had a lot of questions I wanted to ask you at that point in time, but I will say this. I've been watching the videos you put up, and it's in all honesty, it's really good for me. It is very good short form content.
Well, thank you.
Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but like, I don't know that I could watch a 10-minute video about it. I could watch a 2 or 3 minute video.
Yeah, I don't think I can make a 10-minute video about this stuff.
And see, and the funny part is, that's how I feel about the stuff I make. It's like, I can't believe anybody watches this crap. But it's like, it's because, to me, it's like, and I think it's because I watch other people and I don't have that issue. I think it's because it's me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I generally, like on my YouTube videos, I generally don't re-watch those. I might watch bits and pieces of them just to make sure something, like the video that'll be coming out Tuesday. Like, I'm going to watch a spot in that. There's a piece of paper here. Has a timestamp on it.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that the thing I added in there, that actually shows up, because when you preview it, it won't show up until the video publishes publicly. And it's a stupid thing.
Yep. I treat my videos like I do the podcast. I don't even watch them.
Yeah, and I generally don't either.
And that's I think if I watch, then I'll notice the weird stuff I do and then try not to do it.
I got some comments on some old videos back like around Christmas time, and the people made some comments. I had to go back and watch the video because I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. No, hey, as long as it's fun, I could see myself doing this for a little while. But the only thing I don't like is all the content, all the stuff I'm doing right now. I don't want to do any of it except for the scuba diving. I'd really, really, really like to do a lot more of the diving.
The diving video was good.
Yeah, but
I want to see the outtakes from when you found out your daughter was stuffing her iPhone into the tank, though.
No, it was a whole bunch of air coming out of my mouth, pointing at her like, you know the point I'm doing. It's like the point of thunder. It's like, get that thing out of there. Like, we paid for your phone. We're not making payments on that stupid thing. We paid for it, and you're dipping it in the water. She's like, no, you can. I'm like, really? I don't know. But that's where I'm at. You talk about where Hadley is. Like, you're getting to be your friend now. I'm the dumbest person in the world.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it doesn't help because, like, when we were doing the podcast stuff and I was trying to get stuff uploaded on Apple, I'm like, I'm up here, like, I'm ready to pull the gun on my hip and shoot my very expensive non-Apple laptop because I can't get the Apple stuff to go through. And it tells me that I have to have an Apple device. And so I call my daughter and says, hey, I need your help in the barn. Come over to the barn. So she comes to the barn, and she fires up her MacBook and does what I need it to do. We should have her take over Frank's job.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'll expect to get paid, though. She's like, hey, old man, these are services rendered.
Yeah. I'm sure you got some credits built up with her.
I give her credit. She pays rent, so I can't hold that against her.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And this is going out there. If you're a parent and you have children that are getting ready to come that age where they can move out and afford to do something, even if they're still living under your own roof. And I'm not saying charge them a rent like they were renting their apartment. Get them paying some bills. Make them pay some bills. I think that has done more good for my kid than anything. Like, I wish I did as well with setting a budget and the stuff that she does when I was that age. I'd probably have a lot more of my money back. I could own a lot more than 35 pipes.
Yeah. And that's great. That's one thing.
I'm trying to save my money for Muletown, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'll listen to that episode because you'll do that one on location, so I won't know what was said.
Yeah.
That way I can critique
the best part is Ace and Brandon don't know that yet. Ace will know now
As I
because
say,
he'll listen to
I
this.
think they're probably not
I don't even know if Brandon listens to a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I got some stuff so we could record a podcast going to the Muletown show. Because my thought process is to kind of talk to them about what their expectations are, and then at the show maybe hit them up about how they think the show is and what they, how their experience is, and then talk to them again on the way home.
Well, I know somebody else. I know Gavin. He's kind of excited to come on. We got to get that.
Yeah, we gotta get that all figured out.
Microsoft Teams also. We need to try the free version, I guess, and see if you can record.
Okay.
But I'm still waiting on your email.
Oh, yeah. Well, when we get done, I will get you my personal email so we can get that set up.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'd forget, B_.S, hyphen apostrophe question mark podcast. .net.
You know I am armed, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's a lot going on.
Don't worry. Mark knows better. He knows I won't shoot somebody.
Yep. Don't want to make a gun look bad.
Yeah, don't want to make a gun look bad. If I had a straight claw hammer sitting up here, he'd be nervous.
It'd be a little different show then.
Oh, God. Well, should we wrap this one up?
I ain't got nothing else.
Well, I guess we're going to wrap this up because, we've probably already aggravated most of you because we voiced our point of views and we're honest about things. So you'll just have to live with that. And I'm sure the next one will be different because, that's just how this works.
I promise we'll keep Bob away from the old fashions for the next one.
I'm not. I've had one drink all day. That's the first drink I've had all week since last weekend. You're getting lippy. Anyways, we appreciate y'all tuning in. And we appreciate all the feedback that we have been getting. And we thank you all for that. And hope you all have a good week. And we'll talk to you again soon. I gotta get the other lighter real quick. Hang on.
You better.
I need this for the intro. Ace, this is for you.